Hey guys, welcome to my view on books, episode number 47. After a long time, I was checking the last episode. Live stream for books was on September 11th, so it's almost 6 months, and I haven't been doing a lot of live streams for books, but I've been continuing the gaming and other categories. But yeah, it's good to be back to talk about books in a live stream, and I must thank you all for the reception of podcast. Podcast has been really good for both for books and movies. Let me just check the sound is audible. Yep, my audio is good. You know, yeah, it's been a long time, so I thought I'll start with the live stream as well. And I like coming on live streams and talking about books and movies. So I'm gonna start that in parallel with the podcast. So in podcast we'll have a lot of guest speakers, and I'll try to pull them for the live stream as well. So we are in episode 47, and as you can observe, I'm gonna talk about the book Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Is becoming my modern favorite author. I have read Dark Matter, and you have seen live stream on Dark Matter, and then Recursion. I think I've talked about Recursion. I'm not sure. I haven't done an episode on Recursion. Yeah, this is the third novel that I've read by Blake Crouch, and it's absolutely mind blowing. So, from Blake Crouch, it's going to be science fiction, obviously, and as usual, the protagonist is going to be the center of access of the story, and then he's going to have a family that he wants to get back to. So it's almost the same here, but the theme or the concept that is handled in Upgrade is completely mind blowing. And I wasn't sure about the title. I just thought Upgrade in the sense what it could be. I didn't have any idea. Going through the initial 50 pages, and once when the title of the book gets explained in the story, then it hits you. So the concept that he has handled here is genetics, and we are talking about gene editing. So it's happening in the future where we have an agency called Gene Protection Agency. You can it's similar to FBI or DA, Drug Enforcement Agency, or NSA, National Security Agency. So it's a similar concept. So Gene Production Agency. So where we see that world is going through a disaster. 200 million people have died because of crop failure, and our protagonist is working as a employee of Gene Production Agency, where uh, outlaws or criminals try to edit genes without the permission of where it's banned actually. So gene editing is banned in this timeline in the future, and people who do it gets arrested and investigated by the GPA, Gene Protection Agency. So our protagonist's name is I mean Ramsey, Logan Ramsey, and he has a family. As usual, the all the protagonists of Blake Roach has a family, loving wife and a daughter, and but he has a very dark past. So he's like a nerd, but not a high. What do you say? Very extremely intelligent, super supercomputer mind, something like that. Not like that. So his mom is the actual scientist who is very intelligent, and she had been running a research on improving the crop to become more immune against locust and other crop failure diseases. So they end up trying to invent a crop that's more immune, but eventually it leads to a global disaster, and the crop failure becomes widespread, and because of that research almost like 200 million people are dead, and his mother commits suicide. And since he was a son and was working in that research project, he gets arrested first, but then eventually he's rescued. I mean, he gets released and he gets a job in this GPA. So he basically goes hunting for people who try to edit genes without permission. And the very first beginning, we see that he gets into they get an information that there's a secret lab in this particular part of the town. So he gets into this suit, biomedical suit, and then he and his team gets into that house, and basically in underground they find something what do you say interesting. So it's like a ball of glowing energy. They think it's something. They came for the lab, but the lab is not there and no one is there. So they kind of investigate this ball of energy, and then eventually they figured out it's like a IED, improvised explosive device. So they go for a run, but then it eventually blasts. And so he's the only one who's get exposed to the blast. So all his team members are far away, but then he gets exposed to the blast. So basically he's hospitalized, and he's like kind of isolated, like how COVID patients are isolated. So everybody suspects, including his boss in the GPA, suspect that he has been he's having a virus. The blast was nothing but a virus intended to target some person. So he's been scrutinized, and all kind of tests are run over him. He has like a lot of like high fever, and for the first 2 3 4 days he's very abnormal and unstable. But eventually he recovers, and the tests come positive that he's not affected by anything. He's kind of okay, nothing has happened to him. So they leave him. So he gets back to his family, he gets back to his job. And but eventually this is where the story starts. So in 2 3 days after getting back to home, he kind of feels something in his body, like every time he plays chess with his daughter, he ends up losing. But now he's the one who's winning against his daughter, and his daughter is surprised, like, how are you winning? You don't have you. And he also feels something different in his physical activities and mental activities. He kind of reads book very quickly, and he talks very quickly, and it's something suspicious. So he goes to the doctor again, and he asks him to run the test without the knowledge of GPA, because he feels that he has been infected with some virus during that blast, and it has increased his normal day-to-day human activities or powers. So before the test comes, the GPA figure out, and they come for him, and they catch him, and they put him in a very special prison for a superhuman. So basically the virus is nothing but a gene carrying drone from the blast, and his gene has been edited in a way that all his normal whatever levels of normal genes we have, that has been increased. So it's basically upgrade. So that's where the story starts. So someone has intentionally lured him to this particular spot in the name of gene editing lab is there, and trying to investigate it. He ends up getting into this explosion, and he's affected by this virus, upgrade virus, and he gets this upgrade virus. So basically all his natural abilities have tremendously improved. So that's where the title comes into it. So basically upgrade is nothing but your normal gene gets upgraded, and he's kind of puzzled on who was the reason behind it, who made it. And the GPA agencies, even his own boss, doesn't trust him, like, do you know who is responsible for this? Is your mom still alive? And they say that your mom was alive, and she was the one who created this upgrade virus and injected into you. So let me know, like, if you're working with your mom. So they are suspecting him. So even though he has worked with GPA for a long time, after his coming out of prison, he's been loyal to GPA, but the employees and the boss at his GPA, they don't believe him. So basically it's now a cat and mouse game. So suddenly someone comes in and make him escape. So we see that the person who helped him escape is Kara Ramsey, his sister. So he has a sister whom he doesn't communicate or talk much, and looks like she's also been infected with the same virus. And they get together. So they escape from this GPA super prison, and then they get together, the brother and sister, Logan and Kara Ramsey. So they figure out, okay, it's mom who did this, she might be alive, and out of everyone, she has chosen only is her kids, like basically the son and the daughter. So they kind of try to decode some message in the gene. So the gene has been edited in such a way that there's a message in the gene. So they figure out that message, and it's basically a location somewhere in the forest, snow forest. So they go there, and there they retrieve a kind of very hard case, which is prone to which is against weather deprivation. So it's been there. So they see the location, and then they open the hard case. There are some videos, they see that, and they see a video of her mom explaining what is the upgrade virus and why it has been given to you. And she's come to that spot 2 3 years back, and she's injected herself with overdose of morphine, and she's committed suicide. So it's now up to the son and daughter Logan and Kara Ramsey. So what they're gonna do with this upgrade virus? So the daughter Kara decides to, she says that I'm gonna build a lab and I'm gonna make sure it's properly developed, and I'm gonna spread it to the world. All the humanity should have this upgrade virus. But then Logan says, no, that's not the way. We too were lucky because we were having this positive effect. We got the upgrade, but there could be like how the crop failure happened. There could be disaster, right? What if you spread the virus and people end up dying? So it could be like a bio weapon. And even though it's for the good of humanity, we shouldn't take such things. Just because to save 6 billion people, it's not right to kill 2 billion people, right? So Logan is against spreading the virus, but Kara is against, this Logan's argument, and she wants to spread the virus. So they have a fight, and then it's becoming like a gun battle. Somehow Logan escapes, and Kara gets away with the hard case. So what happens then? So Kara develops with her own team. Somehow she gets her own team, and she develops the virus. And Logan tries to chase down Kara and finally, try to stop her from spreading the virus worldwide. So that's the whole story. It's really fascinating. I would say the last 100 pages of Blake Crouch novel is like mind bending, and you'll not be able to keep the book itself. It's a very what do you say? It's just not science fiction. Sometimes I feel like I read a biology book, but then the story kicks in, and especially the emotions. In all Blake Crouch novels, the protagonist will be longing for getting back to family, like Christopher Nolan movies, Inception, Interstellar. So it's something like that. So in Upgrade, he has a family, but since he becomes superhuman, basically superhuman, nothing but genes are edited to a level where is normal, whatever normal becomes very mundane, and he can do superhuman activity. Basically, when you read a book, he can remember every page of the book, and he can recollect memories from his childhood, and he can paint a face from a memory that's been like 10-15 years back. So all kind of this related, all the genes related to memory, muscle, and context switching, as you call in the computer language, context switching, multitasking. So when you're listening to someone and you're reading a book, and there's background something happening, so all three activities you can do in parallel without disturbing any particular activity. So such kind of innovative thinking and concepts have been told in this book. And towards the end, I like the ending because unlike other novels, this book has a very good message. So as you know, AI is evolving and technology is evolving, so we feel that there's going to be a humanity with technology war. And as a human, to win the war, what we need is empathy and apathy. So that's what he's told in this novel. So I don't want to spoil, but he actually was against spreading the virus to the world, but he changes his decision, and he kind of spreads the virus, but with a hack in that virus. So why he does that is the whole story, and the message that's been given is really good, and it's needed, I guess. Nowadays, it's like when somebody dies in some other part of the world, you don't feel anything. And if there is a gene that can make you feel empathy for that particular person who is far away, who's not related to you, and that's where humanity kind of improves, and that's the upgrade we have to look forward, is what Blake Crouch has told. Yes, the story is told in the perspective of Logan Ramsey, so we kind of imagine from his perspective, and the writing, as usual, is so good. It's very technical, so we learn about, as I said, we learn about biology, right? So yeah, I would like to read certain phrases from the book. Let me show 40, page number 40. Yeah. This one is about his love for his wife. So he says that there's no one else on this planet I would rather have 10,000 dinners with. So he loves his wife so much, and when he's arrested and kept in this prison, when he gets this superpowers, they tell the family that Logan is dead. He was trying to flee and we killed him. So they told the family, the wife and the daughter, that Logan is dead. And but that's not true, right? He's in the prison, and they are captivated. They have captivated him. So he feels for his wife and daughter. Now even if he escapes, if he tries to contact them, then it'll be trouble for them. So it's like he can't get in touch with his family. And on the virus 140, 134, 134, yeah. So this is where they discover the video of the mom, and the mom explains like what is this upgrade virus, what you should do with it. You know, life never really goes the way you want or expect. Usually, even getting exactly what you want turns out not to have been what you really wanted. So my son, if you ever find the silver of happiness and peace, just be thankful and live. Don't reach for more, because a silver is more than most people ever find. So she's upset that the crop failure is, kind of was a failure and a flop show. And then her last, before her death, the last things that she invents this upgrade virus. So she explains. So in the same video, she keeps explaining. This gift is a genetic upgrade that ramps up our cognitive performance so that we might collectively let the engines of reason guide our behavior instead of the cushions of sentiment. So she says the mom, Miriam Ramsey, mom of Logan Ramsey, she feels that emotions are what letting humanity down because people are emotional. They take emotional decisions and impulsive decisions. So we need to be on the radical mind, logically thinking. So that's what she says. Like, let the engines of reason, radical, or what do you say, rational, let the engines of reason guide our behavior instead of the cushions of sentiment. So, but Logan feels the opposite. He's like, I don't want to spread this virus and end up killing a lot of people in order to save the entire humanity. That should not be the case. There could be another way, and we should explore options rather than simply letting this upgrade virus happen. And after reading this story, you kind of think or wonder, maybe the COVID, coronavirus could have been a bioweapon, something like this. If you look at the statistics, we have been immune to significant and dangerous virus. We've gone through this phase of 2.5 years, 3 years, COVID. So we have been immune to COVID, and a new virus has to come to attack our cells, right? So, but we ended up losing a lot of people across the globe, and I feel it's something like that. When I read the story, I was wondering, it's called upgrade virus, and it's meant to upgrade your genes and increase your intellectual thinking capabilities, all those things. But then as bioweapon, COVID, so that is on the negative side. It's basically kills a person on worst case. So yeah, similar. But coming back to the story, I really enjoyed it. The writing, as usual, you cannot what do you say, he will not let down his readers, is what I feel. Blake Crouch, and he has written so many novels, so I'm like intrigued to read all of them. Dark Matter is the best, I feel, because it had a much more emotional story rather than a science fiction story. Both the science fiction and the emotion concept were gelled, and it was absolutely bang on. Dark Matter. I loved reading Dark Matter. And then Recursion was kind of, when you compare with Dark Matter, it was not up to the mark, but it on its own, it's a very good science fiction story, and it had its own romance and emotional themes. And now Upgrade, it's a completely new theme of genetics and how the world would be if people ended up, figuring out gene editing. Like we see in dark web, we get everything, right? So what do you say, weapons, human trafficking, and all those things you get in the dark web. Tomorrow, if gene editing has become predominant, and imagine what all you can get. So there is an example where in the book he says, so malaria is spread by female mosquitoes, so we can edit the genes of mosquitoes so that only male mosquitoes end up surviving, so that we don't get malaria. So there'll be no female mosquitoes. And then you can build a dragon from crocodile and Komoro genomes. So you can imagine what all you can do with gene editing. So all those mythological stories and science fiction concepts in Hollywood and anime, Japanese anime, we can see it live. So it's a very scary and breathtaking concept, and it's a dystopian. It's a mildly dystopian universe. So yeah, I loved reading it. I hope you will also love reading it. It's available in Amazon and any particular stores in your town or city. So do purchase it. Upgrade by Blake Crouch. It's 357 pages, I guess. Yeah, as usual, the last 100 pages I ended up reading in 2 days. So it's very thrilling and mind-bending story. Do check it out, and I hope you enjoyed this episode 47. My view on books. I will try to bring more books to talk about in these live streams as well as podcast. And so stay tuned. You're watching MaddiE with MaddiE. I'm MaddiE. See you until the next live stream. Bye bye.